We generated around 560 plus million impressions organically. Those
creating property cards for the first time for people owning houses in the rural areas.
We have a patent on a bits technology, which.
But we were really guided by what we wanted it to be.
In terms of the content consumption pattern has changed.
Very competitive, very crowded.
The objective is basically to democratize cancer care.
I see a very bright future for retail industry.
Technology now allows us to scale up.
We also want to help patients become more compliant.
If I look at the custom solutions market, it's almost about $1,500 billion.
Your customers will not continue to be with you if you don't change gear.
We had adopted digitalization much earlier.
Within a very short span of time, we are the number one operator in the whole of South India.
If you are reaching out to a lakh people today, you would be reaching out to an entire globe tomorrow.
We got those two brands and then immediately got into a few of the LFRs and there was no looking back.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the 40th episode of Ascent Talks. My name is Ajit Panikar, and I'm an Ascent member for over 10 years, and I lead Nova, an air conditioning company, and Pure Blue, a tech-enabled startup in the air conditioning domain. And as usual, my co-host is Aleem. How are you doing, buddy?
Fantastic. Good morning, everyone. My name is Aleem Merchant, and I run an advertising and marketing company in Mumbai called Synapse, and we're both part of Ascent. But what is Ascent? Ajit, why don't you tell us about that?
All right, we'll make this quick. Now we're on the 40th episode, so we'll make this a little quick, short one. Ascent is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs grow their business. It was founded by Harsh Mariwala, Chairman Marico Limited, in 2012 and has helped over 850 entrepreneurs. Ascent's key feature is trust groups, where entrepreneurs can share experiences and ideas. And Ascent Talks is hosted every week to showcase the journeys of its members. So, Aleem, let's bring in our guest today.
Absolutely. On a nice Friday, dull, rainy morning, I'm welcoming Sujit Oomen. He's the founder and director of Advanced Speciality Materials, LLP, more commonly known as ASM, a company which specializes in synthetic papers. It's also a one-stop solution for all kinds of synthetic and specialty papers. Before ASM, Sujit worked with DuPont in specialty materials for almost 8 years, focusing primarily on the B2B space. In early 2019, ASM started a D2C brand, Nara, focusing on art and craft stationery segment, which is into alcoholic ink art, where they export to over 63 countries and is one of the most preferred brands globally in this segment. Widening his portfolio under the Nara brand in 2022, they launched a reusable notebook, which is a 100% tree-free, environmental friendly solution and can be used for more than 50 years. Thereby not wasting paper for at least basic writing. I think all of us should buy that notepad first of all. But yeah, welcome Sujit to the show.
Hey, hi. Thanks, Aleem. Thanks for the introduction.
Absolutely. So Sujit, tell us about ASM and tell us what is unique about the company. What do you do? And while I'm very bad at introducing people, so
yeah, I mean, first, thanks Ajit and Aleem. I have a bad throat, so excuse my voice if it may not sound very clear. But then thanks for having me. I really appreciate this. It's a nice opportunity. I've been following you guys for the last 39 episodes, and I'm lucky that I'm the 40th. So, I'm talking about my organization, ASM, Advanced Speciality Materials. This was something that I started way back in 2013 after my 8-year stint in DuPont. I was always in the specialty material side and, in sales and business development. That's where वो बोलते हैं ना कीड़ा है कि यार कुछ करना है कुछ करना है, but then you're from a typical middle class business, इतना आसानी से होता नहीं है. I spoke to my dad. I wanted to do business. He said, "सब ठीक है? Are you okay? I mean, you've got a job. सब कुछ आ रहा है. You're getting your salary and on time. 25th को आ जाता है ना. So what do you want more? Why are you wanting to do it?" And then there was this urge. I read a lot of books. So Robin Sharma is one of the guys who spoiled me. He has a quote which says, "Follow your dreams." So I blindly followed my dreams. I just quit one day with no plans of what I had to do. And I had a partner for the first year. we still good friends, but unfortunately it didn't pan through, and we separated ways. And 2013, I started all by myself doing this. I was assuming that it would go well, but it did not. Almost 2 years I struggled. I went to Dubai looking for a job. मैं बोला यार नहीं, I'm a Mallu and I have my elder brother in Dubai. So he was like, anytime you want, you come over. तो मैं बोला ठीक है यार भाई, business is not working the way I thought. It was okay. There was no complaints, but I wasn't very happy. You know, वो जो aspirations होता है फलाना ढिमाका and all that. Then I went to Dubai. Stayed there for a month, and fortunately for me, I didn't get a job.
Sujit, when you say that you're a Mallu and then you say Dubai, you don't have to talk about relationships, okay?
Correct.
Because that is the biggest population out there. So if I have a Mallu, it's connected with Dubai.
46%, yeah. So I thought my destiny is also in Dubai. I went there, but I didn't get a job. I came back and then I started off from scratch again. And fortunately for me, things started falling in place from July of 2014, and things have been good. We've been doing well. Now, I think I didn't answer your question specifically. What is specialty material? So basically, this is synthetic paper. Paper जो फटता नहीं है, पानी में भीगता नहीं है, and which can be used for a very long life. Now, when you go to buy a garment, there is a price tag that's there on the garment. That's usually on a non-tearable paper. The reason being that the tag has to be there for a long period of time, whether it is 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, depending on the shelf life of that particular garment. So tags, engineering drawings, Indian Army, Air Force, Navy, they use these papers extensively for various applications in terms of record keeping. Exhibition patches. If you remember, you've been to exhibitions earlier, there was a plastic pouch and you put a paper inside. Now that has been replaced with non-tearable paper. You don't have to use a plastic pouch, you completely replace that. So wherever you need a solution in terms of life and tear resistance and being water resistant, we have a solution.
That's so cool. Sujit, do you print money also?
I wish, but I don't. I'm not a printer. Okay, I'm a paper. We are a solution.
That's enough. That's enough. Printing का काम हम कर लेगा यार. No tension मत लो. हमको paper चाहिए.
Paper supply करेगा तो Ajit is all set. Send you address and send you a bale of paper then.
A lot of these international countries have these non-tearable notes actually.
Yes. Dubai, I was in Dubai last month. So they've already started. Singapore has been having it for a long time. India has been discussing about it for a while. It's going to happen. See, eventually it has to happen because using conventional paper, it tears off, it soils, and synthetic paper makes so much sense.
Yeah, it does.
But tell me, Sujit, it's such a niche segment that you are actually chasing. I mean, why such a niche segment that you chose, and how big is this segment for you? I mean, is it really a big market to be focused only in this niche segment?
Good question. See, actually, I work for DuPont, and if you know a little bit about DuPont has always been in niches, and they've created markets in niches. So your polyester was invented by DuPont, Lycra was invented by DuPont, Teflon. They were all markets which didn't exist. They were created by that company, and I've been influenced by that. The good years of my life, whatever I learned is there. So I started off with niche, and I kind of try to move my way through in terms of getting into different applications. So as you rightly said, Ajit, the segment is very small. It's not a large segment like a paper industry, the conventional paper industry or any other industry. But then, that's the choice that I have made to be in a niche space and kind of create opportunities out there.
So what kind of changes have you brought, Sujit, into this now? You've been around for a while now. So what kind of changes have you brought into this industry? What are the changes your organization brings? What is the flavor it brings to this industry now?
So our strength primarily has been application development. Many of the applications I hope I'm trying to be humble enough by saying that we are not the only ones, but then we try to do a lot of application development. I mentioned to you about the exhibition batches. So this was something that I had seen in Germany for one of the exhibitions, and we came here and we met some of the exhibition organizers here and replaced that product in India. So what we primarily do in terms of value addition to this industry is application development. We are not like someone who are box movers. We value sell. Yeah, that's what our forte is.
Yeah. So Sujit, you spoke about your journey because you came from a professional background. Then you got into you were very humble enough to say that, listen, I failed and I went back to a job and then came back and started a business. You had a partner. That's quite a journey by itself. And being in a niche segment, as an entrepreneur, it's never easy. Why don't you share with us some of those real challenges that you faced? And there is that time when you says, I don't know what's happening. Why don't you share some of those big challenges that you faced there?
I mean, Ajit, a very good question. And we speak in our trust group and otherwise in my friend circle. And anyone, the youngsters who come to me in terms of they wanting to start a business, I have two advice which were personal challenges for me when I was growing. I think the number one thing for most businesses, especially when they're at the start, is your cash flow. No matter what people say, you can have a brilliant product, you can have brilliant margins, everything is okay. But if you don't have your cash flow in place, you are not going to survive the next day, next week, next year. So my advice has always been to the newcomers in terms of cash flow. And I would like to give an example. Actually, way back in 2017, things were going well. We had a customer who was paying us every week. There was a lot of money coming in, and I kind of moved the money to do something else outside the business, buying a real estate property. That's the kind of I thought that everything is hunky dory and things will go fine. But one fine day, the customer just called up and said, "Boss, sorry, now the business doesn't continue. You will have to hold your supplies." And we had a lot of, I mean, almost 70 lakhs of raw material, 70 lakhs of outstanding, and a property whose EMI had to be paid. And I got jacked. I must say that. I mean, I really thought I would not see the day, and that was the biggest mistake of my life. So one thing that I realized is you have to have your cash flow. Whatever you're doing, you need to know that you can survive this storm if it turns really bad. So that's in terms of an experience and advice that I have for youngsters. I mean, people who are starting their business fresh, and people who have been in the business for a while, like I've been for 10 years. And I think the way we have been able to navigate through this is continuous innovation, doing new things. It doesn't matter whether you're a niche or a large market segment. What you need to do is continuously innovate. And the reason that we have been able to survive in this niche space without deep pockets is only because we've been continuously innovating. So I think these two are my advice and my experiences.
Like you said, at some point of time, all of us have felt jacked in many ways.
I'm sure.
And other syllables that have end with the same ed. But point is that what motivated you to become an entrepreneur? I think Dupa was good. It's a great company. I'm sure you're doing well over there. So what motivated you to become from an entrepreneur to from becoming a working professional to an entrepreneur?
Actually, see,
just before you answer that, Sujit, that's a damn good question, because I'll tell you what happens when you're a professional entrepreneur. When you're a professional, acha 1 तारीख को पगार कब आएगा?
Correct.
All right, that's what you look for.
And for us, it was 25th.
25th. Oh, great. And as an entrepreneur, when first comes to saying, how do I get money to pay everybody else?
Pulling your hair. I see that. Yeah, it's a brilliant question. But Ajit Alim, during my younger days, मैं हमेशा सोचता था मुझे कुछ करना है. I wanted to do something of my own. Money was one part. The upside is very high. Obviously, the risks are also there. But I wanted to do something in terms of where I'm value adding. मैं DuPont में भी application development में काम करता, business development में काम करता था. But my product or my work was limited to my bosses liking me doing what I'm doing. If he feels nahi, abhi Sujit, this is not our priority and we have to change gears, so that project goes for a toss. So I wasn't really enjoying this. And then that corporate, with all due respect, a lot of my friends work in corporate, but that corporate mein jo hota hai na ki every day you're working to impress your superior. I was not very happy doing that. I wanted to do something that I enjoy. उसके अलावा जो साथ में आता है by product, I don't deny that is definitely there, but I want to do something which I enjoy.
That's amazing. But Sujit, we really want to bring out that next interesting stuff, and we would really like you to talk about it. For somebody who's listening to you, will say, "Yeah, synthetic paper based. How exciting can that be?" I mean, he's making money, but it's not really exciting to whatever he says. But what you did with art is a fabulous story, and I think you need to bring that out and explain to her that you went to a very niche segment of the art. Tell us about Nara and what is alcohol art all about.
Yeah. So thanks. Yeah. So Nara is something. Nara basically stands for the first two alphabets of my son Nathan and my last two alphabets of my daughter Zara. So that's how the brand Nara came. I had an intern who came to me. He wanted a project, and I was like, "अभी क्या दूँ तेरे को?" तो मैं बोला, "देख एक project है मेरे ज़हन में, but I'm not very sure does it make sense." मैं बोला, "ये तू ले, see what you can do with it." So he said, "Okay." And then he's asked me, "Can I get my girlfriend?" I said, "Okay, get her." तो वो आए और वो दोनों ने चालू किया. They kind of gave me a brief of what the market is, this, that. So we thought, okay, we can pack it and start selling because we were already in the synthetic paper space. The whole idea was we didn't have to get into a different market. We already were doing what we were doing, and we send our samples to like 4-5 artists globally, US, UK, Canada, and all that.
So Sujit, before you further explain that, let's give an insight of what Nara art is to our viewers. So viewers, if you look at it, these are some of the art that has Sujit has shared with us. And I'm sure that Sujit, you can explain more
So
how
this
you
is
create
basically fluid
this.
art.
Yeah. So please go ahead and explain to us how do you create
this
this
is
art?
basically fluid art, and you use alcohol ink like we used to do watercolor in school. So this is using isopropyl alcohol. You use inks with isopropyl alcohol, and you make the inks blow around the place, and it eventually dries and it settles into something very beautiful that as you see on the screen. And it is one of the upcoming art, very big in the US. India, there are like few thousand, at least 5,000, 10,000 artists in India as well. US is still the biggest market for this product. So so we've been doing this for the last 4 years, and US has been our biggest market. We sell on Amazon and our website. It's nice. I mean, initially we were like, "Karna hai kya retail? That's not our forte. Do we really understand this and all that?" But then because घर पे माल पड़ा हुआ है, it's just we had to pack it and sell, and we had to kind of do certain things to it in terms of coatings and all that. So it made sense, and the market accepted our product. And it's been 4 years that we are doing it, and it's doing pretty well. And we are, with all the good wishes of our artist friends, we are the second most known brand globally in this segment.
Wow. But this is all handmade? I mean, you actually
This is
do it
all
by
handmade
hand?
and handmade. You use a blower, the hair dryer. Use a hair dryer to move the inks around. So you can look for alcohol ink art. Our Instagram handle is Nara Infinity. You can kind of see a lot of work. We do a lot of workshops with students, with artists. I mean, it's an amazing de-stressor. You just love it. I mean, हम खुद करते हैं for our team. It's lovely.
So it's amazing, right? See, this is what I said, Yeah, so Sujit, this is what I said, like when we were doing before the show started, he says, "I have nothing interesting to say." But see, this is the interesting part of yours, man. When you took a very boring profit-making business and you converted it into such an interesting creative stuff. That is really fabulous. It's handmade. It's so different, and it looks beautiful. It's fantastic.
It's definitely.
And now you're exporting into the whole
we
world.
majorly
And
export.
you're a
India, the
D2C
market is
brand.
small. We majorly export.
Wow, amazing.
I'm
There's
glad
another
Ajit-
interesting.
I'm
Sorry,
glad
go
Ajit
ahead.
told me what is alcohol art. Otherwise, I was visualizing alcohol art and something else. Thank you. I was kind of getting a feeling why people enjoy doing alcohol art. But we'll keep that for another day.
But Ali, there's another interesting facet about Sujit. Sujit runs a very well-known podcast called as Ink Stories, right? And he gets all these printers on board, and Sujit, why don't you share with us how did that whole podcast thing come out? You are the most sorted guy by the printing industry when it comes to the podcast. You've got literally all the big guys on your podcast. Tell us, how did that happen, and why again printing? You're not into printing, right? So why again you got into printing? Of course, you supply the paper, synthetic paper, but why did you get this, and how did all that happen?
Right. Right. Yeah. So basically, we are into the print industry. We supply the paper. The printer does the printing. There are people who do value addition to it. There are softwares. There are recyclers. There are so many the academia, so many stakeholders in the industry. So this podcast, I'll tell you the first reason that why I started the podcast was I was wanting to connect with people during the pandemic. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, and trust me, I learned so much in terms of kya ho raha hai duniya mein, how things people are doing. And I felt I'm not sure if you guys know, print industry would be one of the largest industry in India in terms of employment, but it doesn't have the status of an industry. It is considered as an allied to manufacturing. It does not even have the status of an industry. So the whole idea was we need to, and 90% or 95% of the people in the industry are SMEs, really small companies in the tune of 5 to 20 crores. And then there are very few who are above that number. So what happens is in this industry, you kind of, people are living in their own, what do you say, space, and not having a lot of knowledge sharing because they really don't get an opportunity to share. So that's where I thought if I could kind of meet different people, be it a printer, we have done printers, different kinds of printers, digital printers, flexible, I mean, different kinds of flexo printers, gravure printers, offset printers, the college HOD, the college which teaches printing engineering, the HOD from that college. We had a student who does recycling for multi-layered plastics. I'm sure you would have heard a lot that plastics are not good for the environment. So we had this guy who's all of 25 years, and he does recycling of chocolate wrappers. And he's the guy responsible for making our honorable Prime Minister Modi ji wear the jacket which he wore in the parliament, the blue color one. And he's got a range of different colors which is worn for the G7 as well. And that is made out of recycled plastic. Wow. So, I mean, if you really think of, there is no product in our life which does not have printing or plastics in it. Everything has plastics, right from the shirt that we wear to the laptops we use. It's so singling out it as a bad product would not be the right way. The whole idea would be to talk about it, see what is the best way to navigate around this topic and make it a topic of conversation and bring it in such a way that people can address the problems in the right way, rather than just saying that this is not good, that is not good, let's not do this, let's not do that. And that's the whole idea of the podcast, is to get people, different stakeholders on board, air out their views, understand where they come from, what they have to say, and all that.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. In fact, one of the things I really wanted to know is, since you started this during the pandemic and you got into
I started it not only December last year. We just 30 episodes.
So that's good.
Yeah,
and you've always been, when I've spoken to you also before, you said that that listen, as business owners, you've got to be on social media. And you've been one of the guys who just got onto it. How's it benefited you, and why do you think you should be on social media?
Yeah, that's my personal thing. I think today businesses are, the owners are the brands. People are buying from a person or from a company because of the people who represent that business. That relation that needs to be there. You have to be out there, tell people what you do, what is the value addition that you're bringing into the industry. So for me, it was letting, like this t-shirt that I wear, we very proudly say that we are specialists in synthetic paper. We want the world to know that this is what we do, and if you have a solution, please come to us and we can help you out. So in terms of making ourselves out in the presenting ourselves out in the market for criticism, because social media is a double-edged sword. It can also swing the other way. I had one of my customers. He was upset about a delivery. He said, "Sujit, ye podcast sab chhode, dhande pe dhyan de." And I was like, "Oh shit, that was hard." So
we get every day, every Friday. We get that from our staff every Friday.
No, but then it's okay. In the long run, I'm sure it will add value to me as an individual and also to the industry. That's what I strongly feel. Well, let's see. I'm enjoying it. That is as of now.
That's great. Sujit, tell us about your Ascent journey, about your Ascent Trust Group, and
Ascent, I got to know about Ascent through LinkedIn. Ankit Tanna, he's in the governing council. So I didn't know Ankit then. So he had, but we were connected on LinkedIn. He had made a post about Ascent on his LinkedIn profile, and I was wondering what is this thing, Ascent. And I honestly wanted to be a part of some group where you're networking, you meeting fellow business. क्योंकि business में तुम किससे बात करोगे? कोई है ही नहीं. You don't have anyone to share your problems with. तो मुझे हमेशा से ये था कि कोई ऐसा होना चाहिए. And when I saw Ankit mention that, I went to the Ascent website, and that's how I got to know about Ascent. I applied, but unfortunately for me, every group had someone in printing, so I took me a while to get in. So in trust group. So I mean, always hungry, amazing guys. We are so close, especially after the lifeline. You kind of feel you have shared things which you've not even shared with your closest friends. You have with your family. So it is really amazing. I think all credit to Harsh Mariwala and his team to think of such an innovative concept. His way of giving back to the society, it's phenomenal. I'm short of words in terms of saying what this means. And I would encourage each and every businessman, irrespective of the size, if Ascent admits you, you should surely be a part of Ascent. It's phenomenal. There's no two ways about it.
That's good.
Wow, amazing. So Sujit, now a lot about business here. Tell us a little about yourself, your family, your hobbies, your personal. How do you spend your time, or you only do Nara and specialty paper?
I love playing squash. I try to play at least 4-5 days a week. I'm still a beginner, but I love playing that sport. I think that sport is amazing. So someone who can play should definitely play that sport, is my recommendation. So that's what I do to de-stress. I like reading books. These days, Kindle is my go-to. And I listen to podcasts at least 1 or 2 in a day. I love listening to podcast. I think free में information मिल रहा है. ऐसा ज्ञान दुनिया में ना, हमने engineering करा, MBA करा, क्या पता नहीं क्या किया. We paid so much of money. यहाँ पे तो, I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard about Masters Union. They've got this phenomenal program. It's a MBA program which is competing with Harvard from India. So lovely. I was listening to a podcast about Masters Union. ऐसे free में information मिल रहा है. I think just समेट लो, जितना मिल रहा है ले लो. But yes, you'll have to channelize into effective ways to help your business.
What about your family?
Yeah, that's what I do for my pastime outside work.
And a little about your family too.
So yeah, my wife, Ria, she's a dentist. She's on papers, she's part of the business, but she runs her own independent clinic. We have 2 children. Nathan, who's 13 years old, he's in the 8th standard, and Zara, she's going to be 6 this September, and she's in senior KG. That's about our family.
Amazing. Sujit, it's been fun listening to you. And to all our viewers, you must check out that Ink Stories, the podcast that he has. So even if you are somebody who wants to know about the printing industry or deep dive into it, or want to even get into that business, I think that podcast is a fantastic channel. It's there on YouTube. Yes. I kind of follow it. So I think it's a brilliant one. It throws a lot of light around that industry. And it will also tell you why digital is not disrupting the printing industry. That's one biggest takeaway which we had.
I mean, digital has its own place. You see packaging. I mean, if you go to the nearest Kirana shop, we used to buy rice and dal loose, if you remember, some years back. And now everything comes packed in a plastic with a brand. So packaging has grown. So kuch kam hoga, kuch badega. You can't be like the industry is going to remain. It's just about the pockets will change.
Amazing.
Actually, where do we get this notepad of yours, which lasts for like multiple amount of years?
So it's called Nara Reusable Notebook. It's we have a Nara Smartbook करके website है. You can buy it on Amazon. It's an amazing product. I use it. This is what the product looks like. This is what the product is. It's a reusable notebook, and you can write on it.
How is it reusable?
So if it's important, take a photograph, put it onto the cloud on any of the drives, take a wet cloth, wipe the book clean, and keep using it. So I have a habit of writing like 8-10 pages explaining things to my team. So पहले वो 8-10 पेज रोज का फेंकता था. Now I write it on the book, and I just, after the book is I mean, all the pages are complete. I just take a wet cloth and I wipe the book clean and keep using
like
it.
a whiteboard. It's like a whiteboard in a book.
It's like a whiteboard in a book, but you can carry it wherever you want.
Nice. Fantastic. Thank you, Sujit. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Awesome, Sujit. Thank you so much. We're just done with our 30 minutes, but it was been fun listening to you, man. Too good. Thank you very much for taking time out and being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot, Sujit. Right.
Bye.
That's it, Ali. So even a boring business can become very interesting. Especially it all depends on the entrepreneur. It depends up to you, how do you want to create fun in your business and how
And
to
his
get
innovation
creative.
mindset, actually, that makes a big change in this whole thing.
Absolutely. That's right. All right, guys, we are at the end of the show. So if you're an entrepreneur and happy doing what you're doing, just follow us on LinkedIn or share it with some of your friends. And we'll be there every Friday at 11 a.m. to inspire you with a new story. But if you believe the next decade is the era for India and you want to be part of that story and believe you're growth ready, then you should visit the ascentfoundation.in and apply for membership. And note, this option is not like you pay a fee and get immediate membership. Ascent will get in touch with you, evaluate you, and if you truly are a growth ready entrepreneur, they bring you on board and make you part of our cohort. So that's it for today. And we're going to see you next Friday at 11 a.m. with another interesting story. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks a lot. Bye, Ali.
Bye.